Let's talk about America, a country that holds a unique place in the global imagination. It's the land you think you know, shaped by countless hours of movies, music, and media portrayals. A cultural powerhouse, its influence is undeniable. From the outside, especially for newcomers, it's a sensory overload. Loud, chaotic, and often confusing. But what about from the inside? Well, sometimes it feels like more of the same. People arrive expecting the glitz and glamour of Hollywood, but they might end up in a small town in Ohio, debating the merits of gas station coffee at 3 a.m. America is a land of contradictions. It's Beyoncé, commanding stadiums with her artistry, and flat earthers gathering to question the very shape of our planet. Sometimes, these extremes exist within the same family, leading to some very interesting dinner conversations. So, where does all this confusion come from? It starts with the fact that America exports a highlight reel to the world. New York, Los Angeles, high-octane action, red carpet glamour. But the truth is, America is absolutely massive, and it's more accurately described as a patchwork quilt than a single unified story. The real country, away from the cameras and the coasts, is far more complex, nuanced, and ultimately more interesting than anything you'll see in the movies. People often arrive expecting warm smiles and streets paved with wealth, but are instead greeted by the stern faces of New Yorkers on a crowded subway, and the very real struggles of everyday life for many Americans. This gap between the glossy image of pop culture and the often harsh realities on the ground is what creates some of the biggest misunderstandings about America. Remember, America isn't a monolith. It's not one single thing. Instead, it's a messy, vibrant, and colorful quilt woven from countless cultures, beliefs, and experiences. Built by generations of immigrants, it's a nation that is always changing, always evolving, and always full of surprises. So, let's pull on a few of these threads, unravel some of the mysteries, and bust some of the most persistent myths about America. When the world looks at America, a certain image often comes to mind. The image of a nation of cowboys always ready for a showdown, fueled by Hollywood action scenes. Movies and news broadcasts often make it seem like everyone's armed to the teeth and constantly ready for a dramatic showdown at any given moment. But here's the truth that often gets lost in translation. In reality, only about a third of adults own guns, meaning the vast majority don't. In bustling cities, many people have never even touched a gun in their entire lives. The so-called gun culture is actually quite concentrated in specific areas, not a universal phenomenon. It's a deeply divisive political issue, not a widely shared hobby or pastime. In rural areas, guns are often seen as essential tools for hunting and providing for families. But in cities, they're often viewed as something foreign, even frightening. The myth of the gun-toting American comes from a small kernel of truth, dramatically blown up by Hollywood for entertainment. Yes, statistically, there are more guns than people in the United States, but most Americans aren't living in a James Bond movie or an action-packed thriller. For many, the presence of guns is as distant and abstract as it is for viewers watching from abroad. The political debate surrounding guns is certainly loud and pervasive, but daily life for most Americans is peaceful and quiet, far removed from the sensationalized image. America is a vast and diverse nation, and so are its opinions and experiences. So the gun myth? It's mostly movie magic, a product of Hollywood storytelling. The American dream: big house, fancy cars, golden retriever. TV shows sell the fantasy, but reality is different for most. Wealth exists, but it's concentrated at the top. Many Americans live paycheck to paycheck, worried about debt and healthcare. That suburban house often comes with a crushing mortgage. Economic inequality is a huge issue. Billionaires in space, others working multiple jobs. The middle class is shrinking, and upward mobility is tough. The shiny version of America sells, but it's not the norm. Real life is small apartments, crowded cities, and hard work. The myth persists because aspiration sells better than reality. Don't just picture Beverly Hills. Think of everyday struggles, too. The real America is far more grounded. People often joke, sometimes with a hint of cynicism, that America's culture is just burgers and Marvel movies. It's an easy jab, a quick stereotype. Sure, it's a relatively young country in terms of established nations, but its culture runs surprisingly deep, with roots that stretch back centuries and intertwine with countless traditions. Jazz, a uniquely American art form, blues born from hardship and resilience, rock and hip-hop, all born here, all world-changing, influencing music scenes across the globe. These art forms came from real life, from the streets and the struggles, not boardrooms. They weren't manufactured, they were lived. America's strength is its diversity, a melting pot of cultures and perspectives and immigrant heart, a constant influx of new ideas and traditions. Food culture? It's pho in Houston, a testament to the city's vibrant Vietnamese community. Cuban sandwiches in Miami, a delicious symbol of Cuban influence. Soul food in the South, a culinary legacy passed down through generations. Every wave of immigrants from every corner of the globe adds new flavors, music, and stories to the ever-evolving American tapestry. Culture here is a remix, constantly evolving, never just one thing, always absorbing and adapting. Don't just think of blockbusters, that's just one small piece of the puzzle. Think of poetry, festivals, and innovation, the countless expressions of creativity and ingenuity. America's culture is loud, quiet, a spectrum of experiences, old, new, a blend of history and progress, borrowed and original, a unique combination of influences. It's a work in progress, always surprising, constantly being redefined. Look past the label, the superficial image, and you'll find real depth, a rich and complex tapestry woven from countless threads.